Perceived pressure tells stories in the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We recognise that their sovereignty has never been ceded. We recognise that First Nations Australians were the original storytellers of this land and acknowledge the profound and ongoing contributions of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to our collective sporting fabric. Kriti Gupta, welcome to Perceived Pressure.
Thank you for having me in my own house.
Yes, we're trying to go touring. Yeah, exactly. Having me hosting is, we're stretching the term hosting, and I'm being hosted.
You are.
Which is good, I guess, to drive all over the place.
Yes.
Now, you're with us because you are a former elite figure skater. You describe yourself as a former competitive figure skater. What does that mean? What's your background in figure skating? We're here. This is a Winter Olympics themed interview.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your background in figure skating. What's your story?
Okay. So I moved from India to Australia when I was 5, right after 9/11. And during the school holidays, my brother had childcare, whatever. This was start of 2002. But my dad had to take me with him to work one day, which I think is like a common occurrence at that age. My dad at the time was a professor at Macquarie University. And I'm not sure how familiar you are with Macquarie Shopping Centre, if you've ever been. I know it's the other side of the bridge and that's a long way for you.
It is a long way.
It is a long way, but you did it today. So
I try to avoid going over the bridge, as do most sane people.
Anyway, and at Macquarie Shopping Centre, the food court, which is where McDonald's is, and my father promised me that if I behaved all day at the office, I would get McDonald's for lunch and get my 3 chicken nugget Happy Meal, which at the age of 5, that's gold.
Shangri-La.
That's gold.
That's living.
Yeah, this is living, Barry.
You're writing home about that.
Yeah. And so we went there, and the food court looks down onto the ice rink, which is still there. It's one of the few ice rinks that are still standing in this country. And I looked over at my dad, and I was like, I really want to try that. That was how I latched onto it. And my father at the time was like, oh yeah, she'll do it once or twice. She'll get bored.
You'll get bored of it.
She's a kid.
There'll be skates in the back of the cupboard.
Skates in the back of the, we won't even buy the skates. We'll just get the shitty blue rental ones that you get for the open skate school sessions. And I think it was like a year later at that point then was my first competition. So I didn't start skating at Macquarie Ice Rink. I started skating, my first rink was Blacktown, RIP. Blacktown no longer exists. It's a shopping centre. But that was my first rink. And then Canterbury, I would say, was my main home rink. Also doesn't exist anymore. This was all during the early 2000s. And you know how you have like cricket, you have like your weekend competitions and stuff, and your tournaments when you're in school. Well, my parents would have to alternate between my brother's cricket tournaments and my...
So normal sport.
Normal sport, and then...
This.
And this. And the thing with figure skating was it wasn't just like one of the parks that's like 20 minutes away. The figure skating...
There isn't a local figure skating association.
I mean, there is.
Yeah.
You've got the Australian, committee and everything as well, and making sure that's still recording. Because it pauses sometimes.
Our backup.
Our backup recording.
Backup audio.
So you have your local, your Australia ISU and everything. But the competitions, they move around the state and around the country as well. So it'd be a weekend up in the Hunter Valley at the rink up there for 3 days for like the big tournaments, or down in Canberra, or down to Melbourne or up to Brisbane. And that was kind of a lot of my childhood, was these road trips essentially for figure skating competitions, which caused a lot of friction between my brother and I, because sometimes he'd have to miss cricket because we had to go to the middle of nowhere for an ice skating tournament. Well, what we thought was the middle of nowhere at the age of like 7.
It's Canberra.
Canberra. Canberra is absolutely the middle of nowhere. And that went on from the ages of 5 to 18.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And at what point did that become serious? At what point was it, this is something that I take as seriously as a vocation?
I don't think it was ever as seriously as a vocation, because that question came up when I was in my final years of school. In Queensland, I'm not sure about New South Wales and the schooling system, but in Queensland you have this thing where if you are an elite athlete, you split out year 11 and 12 over 3 years. And I had there was someone at my school who was doing that for like gymnastics or something. And so there was this conversation with, the guidance counselor and also with my coaches, and being like, oh, like, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? And I was like, oh, how about I make a decision after school? I can still go to states and nationals and still do school, albeit at this point my grades had started slipping quite a bit. And that was for numerous reasons. But it was essentially when I graduated high school, and it was the reality of, okay, I can keep doing this as I've been doing, a couple more national championships, stuff like that. Figure skating Australia does not get as much funding as a lot of the other winter sports in Australia. I mean, winter sports don't get as much funding as the summer sports, but figure skating's at the very bottom of that ranking in that sense, because the way of training and practicing is not, you don't have this skills translation like you do with like skiing and snowboarding and like the kind of training facilities that exist there. Figure skating is very much like you've got the rink, and if you don't have the rink, then you don't have the rink. Despite all of the off-ice training with gymnastics and dance that you do, you still need to be able to actually skate. And I don't know where I was going with this. What was the question?
Well, I guess when did it start getting serious, and what like?
Well, it
and
started
what prompted
getting
you quitting?
It started getting serious by the time that I was like 8. That was like my first nationals. And I also played the violin on the ice.
That's real life.
That's like real, like the niching down of that. Yeah, you know how you have like someone singing the national anthem at like games and stuff like that. I played the national anthem on the violin on ice for the 2004 national titles.
Oh,
yeah. There
like
is a photo of that somewhere, but that's like in a hard drive that I'm trying to fix somewhere.
We'll find it by the
We'll
time.
find it. I don't think we're going to find it in the next 2 days.
It's fine. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fine.
Okay, you can fix my hard drive.
I'm going to find it.
You can fix the hard drive.
My dad went on, I think every dad has done this, of like, went on a tear trying to digitize like old cassette tapes and whatnot, and successfully did it.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you the hard drives that are sitting in my study nook back there. But yeah, and then when we moved to the States, it got even more serious for about like 1.5 to 2 years. Because
so when did you move to the States?
2008. And I lived in Minnesota. Being a figure skater in Minnesota is way better than being a figure skater in Queensland or New South Wales.
Constantly icy.
I mean, yeah, but the best part was actually being able to skate outdoors on lakes and ponds, and a lot of neighborhoods would essentially, like, they'd have like 8 houses, and then like the park in the backyard, literally like you walk from your backyard down the hill, and there's like this massive lake in the middle, like a homemade ice rink, and like my friends had that, and it was great, and being there really made me fall even more in love with the sport. It's just when I came back to Australia and kind of the realities of the funding and how far you really make it, and the fact is with figure skating, especially here, your career kind of ends in your early to mid 20s. Because of the reality of the sport, and also the situation as it is. So it was a case of, I've done this for as long as my brain can actually remember, because I started when I was 5. And if I do this and I don't go to uni, then that's, in my mind, and at that pressure at the age of 18, I was like, that's my life. And I wasn't ready to commit to one thing for the rest of my life like that. Because I'd already lived a whole life with it.
No, I get that. And so I guess this is what, and I wonder whether you have this a lot, of the way that this conversation has come about is because I discovered that you were former figure skater. The Winter Olympics have rolled around, and all of a sudden, this like normal person. I was like, what the fuck?
It was a little bit before the Olympics.
A little bit
Yeah,
before.
a little bit before the Olympics.
Like the Olympics were in the consciousness.
Yeah, they were in the consciousness for a lot of people.
And I've gone, what the hell? You're a figure skater, and this is a part of you that I had no idea about. And again, that's putting it diplomatically. And do you have this a lot of every Winter Olympics? You come out of hibernation and you get to really indulge in like a part of yourself that has previously been?
No. I watched like the titles and like all of that, the different championships, kind of in the comfort of my existence. But there's a lot more access to the foreign trophies and tournaments and all of that than there was, say, when I was 18. But also, probably for the first 5-6 years afterwards, I didn't want to think about figure skating at all. I did not step foot back onto the ice for about 7-8 years, I would say. Just because I did not know how to detach the 13 years of training and competitiveness and just be like, oh, let's go skating for fun. And I picked that up again during COVID, because it was like one of the few places where you could still kind of go off and on during those years in Sydney, and I was living out near Macquarie Park again, so it was really helpful. And I think now there's also kind of just been like, with everything, there's been such a big focus on the Winter Olympics in a way that we haven't seen before, especially with media and the algorithm and everything at the moment. Maybe people who don't have it in the algorithms probably don't know that it's existing, because I know that there's been some statements around how you wouldn't even know the Winter Olympics is on. No one said that it's on. And I was like, yeah, sure.
I'm also getting a kick out of the invariably Americans going, What's with the Australians? What's with the Australians on the medal tally? They're higher than the Canadians.
They're higher than
the
Canadians.
Ice down there.
Yeah.
So I'm really entertained by that. We'll get to that. But I guess then this sparks, I guess and I guess we can fast forward to the Winter Olympics here, or the current Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
This sparks, I guess, a renaissance of.
Yes.
A reconnection for you.
Yes, absolutely a reconnection for me. I've been back to the rink a few times since I got back from Mexico. And I mean, that was partly the Winter Olympics, but also like heated rivalry. That's brought such a focus onto winter sports. And the conversation after that I was having with my friends overseas when the show was blowing up was, I was 12 years old and I was an assistant figure skating coach, which sounds like you're breaking a lot of rules, but I promise it's not. There's this system in the States for like athletes and stuff in like these recreational sports as well as kind of facilities. Once you get to a certain level, and if you're like literally older than 12, you can assist with coaching, and then you get paid, and the money is then used on your fees.
Yeah.
So that was my first job, and it was $8 an hour at the age of 12 back in 2008, $8 per hour. So
that's
like
huge. Again, big money.
Big money.
Big money. I remember my first journalism job was for some bullshit basketball website, and I was writing about the NBA in year 11, and I got $5 American an article, and this is my first exposure to the algorithm.
Exactly.
Because this is peak BuzzFeed, right? So everybody has click through and listicles and whatever, because you want to refresh it and get a new ad.
Yeah.
And this is my first exposure to it, and I looked at the pay rates. So you could write a standard words only article, you get paid $5 American.
Yeah.
You get paid triple that if you could
turn it into a listicle.
And I remember getting the phone call, the email from the editors of this website, fundamentally being like, "Look, mate, we love the way you write, but you've written one too many, top point guards in the Eastern Conference starting with the letter G, listicles for our taste, and so we're going to have to let you go."
Yeah.
So I got fired when I was 15 for my first journalism job.
And look where you are now.
Exactly. Still riding slop. No. No, still acutely aware of the algorithm.
Yeah, truly.
Still a slave to the algorithm.
There was no algorithm when it came to coaching.
No.
It was beautiful. This was pre all of that, which was great. But the scariest part about being an assistant coach when you're 12 is when you're teaching, because essentially you were teaching the skate
the
school
laws
classes.
that you're breaking.
Well, no, because this wasn't breaking any laws. There is a system in the States that allows you to do. Yeah. Which doesn't help my case.
It's a system of child labour.
Which doesn't help my case.
There is power in a union.
But
you can't join because you're not a team.
The biggest problem was teaching the beginners hockey class.
Oh, because can you skate but not play hockey?
No. Beginners hockey is like fundamental hockey, like the blade skills, right?
Right.
But the problem was I was a tiny 12-year-old girl and I was coaching 15-year-old boys who did not want to listen to me whatsoever.
Good.
Coaching the 7-year-old kids for tiny tots, perfectly fine. Coaching the 15-year-old boys, not so much.
Are they... Is this a thing of, as well, when you're 15 in Minnesota, I presume, and it's just ice everywhere all of the time, presumably.
Yes. For 9 months of the year. And by that we mean the frozen ice, not the other ice, because that's also everywhere.
That's a different thing. That's these days. Not to be confused.
Not to be confused.
But I guess is there a thing of like everyone has an affinity, like everyone... In the same way that every kid in New South Wales can throw a spiral, or like
everyone knows how to skate.
Yes,
everyone knows how to skate.
And so by 15, is there a thing of like, I'm not listening to this tiny little brown girl?
Yeah, pretty much.
Fucks this shit.
But also, it's like because those boys were doing this is because they want to be in a hockey team. Blah blah blah. Like everyone knows how to skate. Like they can skate forwards, they can skate backwards, they can make themselves stop and fall over safely. Like that's basic life skills essentially, because otherwise you're going to fall over as you're walking down the street. When it comes to like the skate school system, which you also have here, it's very, very similar across the globe. These are kids that want to actually be in like their local district hockey team kind of thing, similar to you with cricket.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
So when there's this tiny little 12-year-old brown girl telling them, hey, you're not doing your T-stops properly.
I've seen... These have come up on my algorithm of the different kinds of stops. There's a hockey stop and there's these ones and these ones.
What are you doing?
So with the feet, I've got bright red socks and I've been strictly instructed that they're supposed to stay out of shot.
Because it looks weird.
I don't have a cameraman, and so I'll find out if they're in the shot later. You okay?
Yep, all good.
Just so you know, artistically, we like to keep these uncut.
Yeah, I know.
So
I'm aware.
Just so you're aware. The hit or rivalry, this is where we're going.
Yeah.
Do you get a sense, is it strange having, again, the rest of the normal world, and I'm going to keep referring to these as, there was a piece in Crikey actually recently being like the Winter Olympics is fucking made up. It's bullshit, we should stop funding this.
Wow, did you write that?
By like a respected economic, like again, Jason Murphy writes on economics for us most of the time. And then
you didn't ask me to write, I mean, you asked me to write a different piece, which I still owe you, but I digress.
He like normally writes in economics, and then I just see like, I can't remember what the headline was, but it was to the effect of like the Winter Olympics is fake and made up. We should abolish it. And
but look how good the Winter Olympics are doing.
Is it
this
weird?
Time round? It is really weird to see because we haven't seen this level. We haven't seen this level of interest from Australia, like from our cohort, all of that type of stuff in the Winter Olympics before. I was in. What year are we in now? 2026. So I was in...
Have you been to Winter Games?
No. But I was in Canada for the... I can't math.
Vancouver 2010.
No, not Vancouver 2000. It was the Winter Olympics after that. So I was there for the 2014 one? No? 2018. I was in Canada in 2018 when
Sochi
Canada...
Winter Games.
Yeah, the Sochi Winter Games. But I was in Canada when the Winter Olympics were going on. And so what I'm talking about is like the atmosphere. I was in Whistler at the time. We were watching the Canada versus America hockey game, and Canada won, and we were like all in this pub. It was the most euphoric feeling. The same shit that we get, you know, with the AFL and all of that type of stuff. Obviously, not obviously, at this stage, I don't see that happening in Australia around a Winter Olympics. Like, I haven't seen anything pop up around nights at the pub or anything around that, which I think would be really interesting to develop.
We need maybe a team sport.
We need a team sport for that to happen. That's the thing. Winter Olympics is a lot more, I mean, the Olympics in general, even the Summer Olympics, it's a lot more of the solo competitive nature, but you never know.
I think there is still this, and I feel like Australians we're a fickle public, right?
We are. We hype up, but we get on any bandwagon.
Exactly.
So we just need to turn the Winter Olympics into a bigger bandwagon, because people have gotten on board these last few days as we've climbed up the medal tally as well, which has been super, super, super fun to see.
And all of a sudden, everybody knows who Jakara Anthony is. I've been a lifelong fan.
I've been a lifelong fan. I know who all of these people are. She's the most decorated Olympian,
exactly,
like Winter Olympian of our time. But it's been super interesting to see. I mean, most people, I would say, in this country know who Scotty James is.
Yeah.
Because this was his 5th Olympics. He's been, his first one was when I was like 15.
I could probably name you before today, or before like this Olympics. I could probably have named you. This is probably an indictment of me, but this is transparency for our viewers. This is how we. This is how we like to do things here at Perceived Pressures. This is an insight into me and my vulnerabilities.
Like when you said, I didn't realize... when you were like,
skater.
You're athletic, I have to reconfigure my entire
exactly, I have to change our worldview. I reckon I could have named you before this Olympics, Scotty James, Tora Bright.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Not even Bradbury.
Oh, and Stephen Bradbury, yeah. And Stephen
Not
Bradbury,
even
yeah.
Bradbury, come on.
Exactly, and Stephen Bradbury. And that would be about it.
Yeah.
And Stephen Bradbury exists in like a separate dimension,
It's separate
right?
dimension for everything in this country, absolutely.
But I guess
Whereas we can definitely name a lot more. Like, you ask the average
normal
sporty
Olympians, Summer Olympians,
they can name a lot more. We put such amount of spotlight and pressure onto our swimmers in this country, as we all know. So it's very, very, but I mean, again, funding. That's how it works. Funding and interest. And also, but the other big thing is 99% of Australians know how to swim, but 99% of Australians don't know how to ski or skate. Yeah. And so it's a lot harder to get the average person, as you've said, to get behind that in the same way as they do the Summer Olympics, because it's a lot more of the sports that they do in their childhood.
Yeah. And it's harder to find a relatable thing of like, not everyone has skied, not everyone... Yeah. Exactly right. And so you
and I see that and that's not going to change anytime soon. And so what then does get people into the bandwagon is when it's like, holy shit, this is our best Winter Olympics ever. Let's go. Who do we've got next? But I don't think we've actually got that many events left now that Australia's like in the running to get a medal for.
It seems to be this, again, like very fickle dynamic of first you win, we won't help you.
Yes.
First you win, and then I'll have a look at it.
Yes.
Then I'll have a look at it.
Yes. Which is a very, very interesting way of doing things. But that's all sports when you fundamentally think about it. If you look at how much the involvement towards AFL has changed in New South Wales and the bandwagoning there, it has largely been driven by winning and social media.
Yeah. Exactly right.
Same thing that's happening right now.
Exactly right. Make it cool.
Make it cool. Pun intended.
That was good.
That was good. You're welcome.
Thank you. And make it and be good at it so that I can say.
So that I can say.
I can attach myself to that, and I think that. I mean, I'm.
But that's basic human psychology.
Yes, and I think that's a fascinating thing of like attaching yourself
to the winning team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
There's this sort of vicarious relationship to the success and to the things that come with it.
Well, there's an interesting conversation around that. So with, again, back to the rise of like heated rivalry and people being like, okay, I'm now into hockey. Which team should I support? And then
I did see this. Yes,
and then people who have been following the NHL for a very, very long time, who are big hockey fans, they're like, okay, well, you support your state, you support your home team. And then people were like, yeah, but they suck. Why would I support them? And this whole kind of like understanding of like, but you should be supporting your team, your people, whether they are on a winning streak or a losing streak. That's the whole point of like that.
The point of attachment is the fact that you're from Minnesota,
Yes,
you're from wherever.
exactly.
As opposed to, I enjoy...
Like,
the
I
aesthetics
ride
of
for the
winning.
Vikings, man. And the Vikings, they get close to making it to like the semifinals for the Super Bowl so many times, and they just miss. Haven't made it in ages.
It's one of those things like there is this new generation, and you know there are friends of the podcast that have written about this at some length.
Yeah.
That see sport, and particularly those that have been picked up by Netflix or some other streamer or some other behind the scenes doco / reality TV show, because that's what it is for a lot of
them.
now.
Yeah.
The fandom is
The fandom around sport
and following is not. I was born in this hole. I'll die in this hole. I get given.
Yeah.
You get what you get, and you don't get upset. It ends up being, what team can I associate myself best with? Like, which team do I prefer the aesthetics of? Which team?
Yeah. Which team do I prefer the aesthetics of? Which team has the best content? All of that type of stuff. Like. For me, we moved to New South Wales first, but I didn't really understand the concept of NRL till I lived in Queensland.
Yeah.
And so, even though I'm back in New South Wales, I am still a Maroon supporter.
Exactly, you don't get
like
the choice.
I'm that's not changing anytime soon. Every state of origin, I'm sitting at the pub, and everyone around me is in blue, and it's great when we fucking win, and you're all sitting there.
Exactly, and it, again, sucks when you lose. You don't get
Sucks
a choice.
when you lose. You don't get a choice. You're just like, it is what it is.
It really.
But that's what's missing, is that, like you said, it's standing up for your team whether they win or lose. It's acknowledging the fact that, hey, I need to ride this wave with them as a supporter. But yeah, you're right. That's like the fandom side of things, which is, it's so interesting because it's given a rise to a lot of sports that were struggling previously.
It blows. I'm just thinking about. Which one? So you're thinking of Formula One, presumably.
I'm thinking of quite a few. I'm thinking of the way that Formula One has changed. I'm thinking of the way that even like the Australian Open now is like at a whole different level than it was, say, 10 years ago. I'm thinking of the fact that every winter now there's so much more happening with the AFL than they used to like 8 years ago. If you look at the amount of people who are now obsessed with curling this week, for example.
Do you know anything about curling? Just for the... Okay, excellent, because I would like...
No, I'm not like a deep dive expert.
I would like an explainer on the Sweden situation, which we will get to. Or the Canadian situation, as the case may be.
Yes, the Canadian situation.
Actually, this might be a good segue, because there are a number of very strange... Strange sports. Strange scandals. I was going to say, this is a scandal-ridden Olympics, and there are a number of them. So I guess, can you... go through a couple of these. So we've just mentioned there's a curling cheating scandal.
There's a curling cheating scandal.
There's a skiing cheating scandal of a different type.
Biathlete skiing cheating.
There's a separate infidelity scandal by the biathletes.
Yes. Then there's also the credit card fraud. Which is,
yes.
Yes. There's also the credit card fraud. There's the condom thing that we just discussed.
Is the Winter Olympics always this batshit?
I don't think the Winter Olympics is always this batshit, but I think, again, we had a big kind of like detachment from the Olympics because of COVID for a little bit as well, right? It really ruined the Olympics for everyone for a hot minute. And because of that, with Paris 2 years ago and now there's been like this whole big upswing, again, social media, all on our phones, with the amount of attention that we're paying to the things that come out of the Olympics. In regards to the scandals that we've discussed so far, that's only like 3-4. That's not that bad.
Yeah, but then there was the penis enlargement. And then there was exactly. You're forgetting about the the literal Olympic grade of, you couldn't write this. It was literally Olympic grade cock tricks.
So what happened at the Paris 2024 Olympics? Do you remember?
I was there and I couldn't tell you anything other, and I think this is part of the Australian sort of fickle nature of it, is that particularly when for a significant chunk of the world, unless it's on the American West Coast, if it happens in prime time somewhere else in the world, it isn't really in a convenient time zone for us. And
but this time it's not a convenient time zone for us either. It's happening overnight.
Exactly.
But we're still very attached to it. But I think it's because when we wake up, the events have just finished.
Exactly,
it's
perfect
timing.
Exactly. You wake up and you look at it
and you're like, and you're doing it in your morning scroll. Like for me, I'm awake at 4 a.m. for the Olympics, but for the average person, they're logging on to their phones in the morning. They're rolling over, opening their phone.
I saw this great meme during Paris, and we had, again, like when swimming comes around, obviously we all expect to just, if it's not, I tried to explain this to my English partner. We were in Paris for the first night of swimming finals.
Yes.
And I said to her, you need to be prepared for what's about to happen, because at this point we've been in Paris for a day. Yeah. And it's practically empty as Paris was during the Olympics, outside of people attending Olympic events.
Which is just fascinating.
But I had to say, I said, you need to prepare yourself. There are only going to be Australians in this building in France. It's going to be Australians, it's going to be Americans, and there are going to be some French people, maybe. Yeah. And she goes, she didn't believe me. And we got into the line outside La Défense, and it was literally just Australians. There was Australians in front of us, Australians behind us. Yeah. I had given her a Port Adelaide jersey because it was the closest thing we had to British colours. And someone in front of us goes, "Look, Dad, they go for the power." Like the biggest bogan child you've ever heard. Just go, "Oi, Dad, Port Adelaide." And you hear the accent, you just fucking, your neck snaps, you swivel. Yeah. And I said, "No, this is a blood sport for us." Yeah. And she goes, "But you can't swim." And I go, no, I can swim a little bit, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I expect perfection. Yeah. And we go, and I think the 50-metre free relay team came second.
Yes.
And you see Sam Short, who was, I think, hurt himself or was quite sick. And we were sat right behind the podium.
This is going to be like the worst thing that I can possibly say aloud. I didn't watch the Paris Olympics at all.
You wake up in the morning.
No. I disappeared off of the face of the earth in the jungle of Guatemala and El Salvador.
Good.
Because I was going through something. And so I pretty much left the country as the games started, and then I came back as the games ended. And I really don't know what happened during those Olympics.
Okay, so this is a you situation.
This is a me situation.
Because we woke up the rest of us.
This is a me situation. Like, I genuinely, the only thing I know is that Celine Dion sang.
Yes.
And they had everyone going down the river for the opening ceremony.
We woke
but that's all I watched.
And we were just sitting there going, and I said, like, Sam Short sat there like inconsolable. He's lost a chance of immortality, Olympic gold. And I turned to my partner, and I'm sat right behind the podium, mind you, and I just said to her, I said, "Look at him. He knows he's disgraced the country." And
so that ties into everything that happened with Ilya Melanin this last week. The men's figure skating. The men's figure skating final. Okay, so America notoriously has this whole thing of writing all their hopes and dreams on one person, right? When it comes, like, you've got Simone Biles, Nathan Chen, men's figure skater.
Thank you.
Ilya Melanin. And in this case, he has also put himself in this position of coining himself as the quad god. The media did not give him that name. He gave him that.
Quad god as in he's got massive thighs?
No. Quad god as in he can do a quad jump.
Sorry, this is what we're working with here. This is a summer sports podcast. This
is a summer sports podcast.
Straight up. So this is a Winter Olympics themed edition of a I'm a punter. These are all new to me. I learned new words
today.
Today
and this last week. Yeah.
I'm learning new things all the time.
Basically, he was the front runner to win gold for the men's, and when they went into the free skate, he was still pegged, like, in terms of the points. There's a lot of condition, like the way that the men's final kind of played out is a combination of two things. One, a lot of people have come out to say that the ice was not up to usual condition. There were a lot of wet
makes
puddle
good-
patches.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not just the figure skaters that have said that. There's a few different other sports that have said, like the speed skaters and stuff like that. So that's one component. But Ilya's also come out to say that he cracked under the mental pressure.
I see.
So he came 8th. Like that was like one of the biggest reshuffles of a scoreboard. And then the very next day, was it the Post or one of the other outlets?
Big American paper.
One of the big American papers, front page of the sports section, him fallen on ice, quad god fails, something like that. Like that's just it, the straight image, him falling on the ice. The pressure look, they've done this a few times in terms of really like putting everything on one person. He's also, again, like I said earlier, has done a lot to like really play himself up in the media around it as well. There was a whole media day planned for him the day after the men's final, presuming he was going to win, which he cancelled, obviously. And you know, it's kind of like that balancing act of if you put all of your hopes and dreams on one 22-year-old kid, and then he also then sees that and also hypes himself up that much, the pressure, again, pun intended, perceived pressure, will crumble at some point. Will make someone crumble at some point.
It's, again, like, and we do a great job of that in this country.
Oh, yeah.
Of picking someone, a child,
Yeah.
inevitably, a mental child, if not an actual child, and going, right, these are my hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
This is my new toy.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna watch that on television, and I want that to have a certain style and colour and cadence, and the cadence should be Olympic gold, ideally with a record of some description.
Yeah.
National anthem, hand on heart. Now I'll look at it. Now I'll support you in future. You've done.
Yes, you've
achieved.
You've achieved what you need for me to back you unconditionally, but that achievement needs to be from the get-go, and it needs to hit a certain threshold.
Exactly.
Like, how many times does with the Summer Olympics, and it's like, Australia, gold, broke this record, Australia, like, it is just like, there is a ceiling, and we are getting closer and closer to that ceiling before, ultimately, I feel like the level that we put, the level of pressure all across the globe, not just in Australia, that we put on our athletes and all in kind of in that one position, will backfire. Not just for them, but for like the establishment itself.
What do you think that looks like?
I don't know. I wish I had an answer. But I also don't think I want to see that. Like, despite me saying that, like, we're going to hit a ceiling and all of that, because that, you know, that's how doping and stuff comes up, and because of all of that, that's how things like the penis enlargement stuff, like, that is why those things appear, is because I'm
very proud of both of us for getting through that without comment and without laughing. Just because, as you were, you know,
they get put up in rooms and they get money, like, you know, for a lot of athletes, like, that is what they're, especially if they're coming from places like Kazakhstan, which is who the men's finals winner was from. I don't want to say the name because I'm going to butcher the pronunciation. He's getting something like $250,000 USD and a place to live, like, and that is super important when you're coming.
National, like, soft power as well.
Yeah, soft power as well. But, I mean, that's what the Olympics are for. It's the ultimate showcase of soft power, which is why they started in the first place.
It's like this. I mean, this also comes up. I mean, this came up with cycling, right? Like, cycling had its like juiced as fuck phase.
Yeah,
and for as far as I'm aware, has sort of dialed that back and understood that was a problematic sort of, like you say, like beyond breaking point.
Beyond breaking point.
I mean, we had this with the cricketers as well, when the cricketers use sandpaper, and we, I mean, a lot of stuff left unsaid about that, but like the cricketers, that was put down in the report to this win at all costs mentality.
Yeah, win at all costs mentality.
Do what you have to. Bowlers didn't know shit, supposedly, but anyway, we moved.
Well, I mean, and then that's how we're looking at this whole, whatchamacallit? Yeah, that's how we're kind of looking at this whole curling thing. Canada, powerhouse for curling, right? Like, that's really the biggest market of the sport. And
it is a sport.
It is a sport. Well, you know, chess is a sport.
Okay, so we're putting it in the chess category of a sport.
I didn't say that.
That's what you said.
I did not say that. Curling is a sport. That's all I'm going to say. And the way that curling, you've got your big granite stone, and that's only made in one place.
I was watching
That-
the short doco on that.
that.
And it's only in like some Scottish island where they make these stones and they go for like $700 a pop.
Yeah.
And they're all hand finished.
Yeah.
And...
But you've got the handle on top, right? And so you can touch the handle as many times and for as long as you want until you get to the hogline, which is where you then have to release...
No way they call it that.
They call it the hogline. Don't look at me like that. Until you get to the hogline, which is where you then have to release the handle, and you cannot at any point touch the stone. That's not allowed.
Which is why they're sweeping and...
Which is why they're sweeping, and you've got the handle and all of that fun stuff. Now, I don't know if you've seen the footage.
But he's poking.
So basically, pretend this is the handle and this is the stone underneath, and then this is where he's holding it, and then he's kind of like let his finger grace like that so that it's not like an immediate like boom, boom, boom. It's like, boom. That was the weirdest animation.
So we can cut that and use Olympic footage if we have the rights. I don't think we have the rights. In which case, that is what is going to have to suffice.
You can put the memes in. There's so many memes.
There's the It just reminds me the NHL can't use Olympic footage for the highlights of the players, so they've been doing MS Paint.
The MS Paint,
which has been very insane. But what advantage does that have? Because in theory, does that not?
It pushes the stone.
Further.
Yeah,
But
theoretically.
he could just throw it harder, could he not?
Yeah, but he wanted to push it further once he'd already let it go.
So he'd already let go and gone, oh shit, actually it needs a bit of juice.
Probably. But I mean,
Now,
he said a lot of things in the interviews since.
But the Canadians, as I understand, are quite upset about this, not because, fundamentally it seems because they've been caught.
Yes.
And apparently the Swedes had told one of the Swedish broadcasters
that they're cheating.
Keep an eye on this, like the South Africans on the cricket.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
Hey,
keep an eye on this.
And so they had the angle, and
because you can't be filming an angle outside of the approved angles with the IOC broadcasting. But they were
to catch the cheating.
To catch the cheating, which is why there's so many levels to this.
Are we Team Sweden?
You're
Team Canada, you're a cheat.
No, I'm not a cheat. I'm just I have a lot of friends.
Endorsing.
I'm not endorsing cheating. Crazy of you to put put that into the universe. No, I fully support Sweden for calling. But the thing is, it's not just Canada, because then last night, Britain.
Oh, this is a common practice.
No. But another instance came up. Britain's, I'm forgetting the curling athlete's name. But he was then also brought up on...
Poking charges.
Yeah. It's called double touching, which I don't know if that's any better or worse.
It was called up. What is the charge? Double touching?
Anyway.
An artisan Scottish stone?
So basically, it's the Canadians men's team... the Canadian women's team, the British men's team.
I'm really entertained by all the silly names for this.
And
they're double touching at the hog pile. Hogline.
So, if you look up the history of curling, you'll see it started when people were drunk.
It was actually...
I don't know, but I assume it is. It's fake news. Someone fact check me, please. We need a fact checker.
I need a fact checker, and I need to cut this part of the podcast. I can't be having a laughing fit in the middle of the podcast. It's supposed to be professional. So I guess take me through, the implications of Australia having, like we said, it's quite a fickle. Quite a fickle public, Australia having the best Winter Olympics of all time.
I'm really interested to see, because we've seen a lot of things already around how people are wanting to get into ice hockey, and you've seen numbers rise at the rinks in the last 2 months since Heated Rivalry came out. So hopefully it continues to, obviously it's going to flatline at some point. Yeah, absolutely. But even if we get some percentage of a rise in the winter sports, I think that's great. It's such an, especially for things like figure skating or skeleton and luge and bobsledding and stuff. Obviously, there is a big focus around skiing and snowboarding. Those are the easiest entryway sports in that sense. But for the other ones, we can get people in. I've never been the type of person to be like, oh, nah, you're interested because of a TV show. That's not good.
Is there...
Because I think that is fundamentally the complete antithesis of what we're trying to do with activities and community and stuff in life, right? It's like whatever gets you through the door, that's what matters.
It then makes me... Now I'm just thinking about cool... Like, again, it must be so strange to have a singular piece of media almost define your sport, right?
I mean, there's nothing
if I was a bobsledder, I would not live my life without...
Cool Runnings.
Without Cool Runnings,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I play
Figure
golf.
skating hasn't had that yet. Figure skating has not had that moment.
Is there no seminal movie?
There's Ice Princess.
Yep.
Ice Princess is
that like an on-loop movie situation?
That came out in the early to mid-2000s.
There are no good cricket movies. Bollywood's filled with dog shit cricket movies.
You cannot say
I'm doing
that.
a whole... No, but they're bad. Like, legitimately,
Not
they're
all
bad.
of them.
Almost all of them universally.
You don't even speak Hindi.
I speak enough.
Anyway, you probably watch them on dubbed. So we're not going to get into this.
We're
not getting into this.
All I'm saying is that there's like... Because there's also the cricket scene in... Shah Rukh Khan's biggest ever movie. You know the one I'm talking about where he's chasing his brother.
Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's the cricket scene at the start.
Yeah,
right?
obviously.
That's the closest Bollywood has come to decent cricket movies. Is like these two scenes.
I'm gonna get crucified on the internet now.
No, it's true. Okay, so there was. Have you seen Victory?
No.
Horrendously bad, like famously bad, and it was like a classic story of like this kid wants to play for India. His dad played for India. His house is burnt down because he's Muslim, and the.
Why do I feel like I might have seen this?
Because it's a blatant cheap rip-off of Chuck the India. That's why.
Oh, okay, that's why. I was like, why do I feel like I've seen this?
Exactly, because it's a blatant rip-off. And it came like 2 years after. They did Chuck the India, but cricket.
But Chuck the India is a bomb movie. That's a great movie.
Banger.
Great movie.
And so, like, the only thing he saves is his dad's, like,
India needs to
tapped
go
onto
back
the
to funding
dick
their hockey team better. Anyway, I digress. And also, you digress.
I do digress. I'm allowed to digress. This is like...
What was I saying? Oh, yeah, getting into the sport. Yes. Single form of media. Ice Princess.
Yes.
Fundamentally, one of the greatest movies of all time. Rest in peace, Michelle Trachtenberg. Disney Channel movie, kind of... Oh, I don't know if it was Disney Channel, but it was in the era... It was in the era of all of those, like, feel-goody home movies.
So that was one of those on-loop movies for you?
Yeah, and I mean, I still watch it, like, every year. I watched it before the Olympics started. I was getting served a lot of like reels of like clips from the movie, as well. And I was like, the Olympics are coming. And did you ever watch that movie? No. The premise of it is this high school girl. She wants to do like this extension physics assignment. She's worked out how to make it so that through the art of physics, she will land. I think it was like her double axel every single time. She'd never skated before. Anyway, she goes on to become a great figure skater by the end of the movie. That movie was my entire life.
Beautiful.
So much so that in school in Australia, I literally named myself Ice Princess because nobody else was figure skating. So I was like, well, naturally, that's my name.
Good. And you're a smidge too old for Frozen, so it's not like a
smidge.
It's fine.
I refuse to watch Blades of Glory to this day, on principle, because it's two dumb white men making fun of figure skating. Absolutely not.
Is there comedy in that?
Yeah, but it's like blokey comedy.
Not comedy that you want.
Yeah. But yeah, haven't watched Blades of... But I feel like when you think about figure skating and you think about those pieces of media, they haven't done what, say... Drive to Survive or what Heated Rivalry is kind of doing for hockey at the moment. And I think that was before the time of social media, obviously. I, Tonya, didn't really get people into the rinks. There was no like big rise of people at the rink after I, Tonya. There's a show that's come out on Netflix 3 weeks ago called Finding Her Edge, which has just been picked up for a second season.
Doco series?
No. This is a young adult teen rom-commy thing. It's her between like her ex pairs partner and like her new pairs, all of that type of stuff. Love triangle, blah blah blah. There was a show back in.
I feel like it lends itself to that narrative of you have pairs, you have doubles, you have singles, you have.
Yeah, there's a lot of romance involved, and that's why people get so invested with the figure skating. Like when it comes to pairs and ice dancing,
It's
of like,
a
are
lot
they
less messy.
siblings? Are they siblings? Are they married? Are they related?
It's a lot less messy than like synchronized swimming.
Is synchronized swimming messy?
Well, in terms of like, it would be easier to film.
Oh right, I
It's
thought you meant
easier
like
to
in
make
terms
clear,
of drama.
No,
I'm talking about in terms of drama.
No, but this is what I mean is that like when there is, I presume there is also drama in synchronized swimming. I just don't know about it.
I mean, I was in synchronized figure skating,
Well, this is what I mean.
and there was drama there. That's true, but like I'm talking about the drama from the perspective of the viewers watching the Olympics when they're just like,
No, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Like I'm sure there is this. For
Yeah. But the point that I was getting at, there hasn't been like that one piece of media where people are then like, let me go to the boy aquarium and see what they get up to, aka what the girls have been calling ice hockey.
Is that what they call it? The boy aquarium.
The boy aquarium. It's like this whole online,
that's absurd.
yeah, online language around it all.
It is now really, and we're going to go into a very serious segue in a moment, but it's now learning that it's called like the ice hockey rink is called a boy aquarium is now blowing my mind because my exposure to ice hockey media is like Shawsey and Letterkenny, and that's very like since Heated Rivalry's come out, I've been served like bogan Canadian women in like like fucking beer league hockey, just yelling, like hurling insults in the most like Ottawa, like country manner possible, just calling people bums, and that's what I've been served since Heated Rivalry. I think it's a couple of degrees separated from the premise of the film.
Yeah, it's from TV show.
TV show. Sorry.
I mean, notoriously, when it comes to like hockey and figure skating as well, growing up, there's like it's kind of like rivalry exists there as well because you're competing for ice time. It's traditionally very segregated, right? You have more female figure skaters, you have more men's hockey players, especially like in the 2000s and 2010s.
This sounds like you're pitching a rom-com to the big streamers.
I mean, there was rom-coms. That was our like. I think the first guy that I had a crush on in America was a hockey player.
Good.
That I used to hang out with at the rink.
Good. And the boy aquarium.
In the boy aquarium.
That's the dumbest name ever. I love it.
But that was the thing, right? It's like, but there was always this like, you're fucking up my ice time. Like, or the worst. Actually, the worst thing is when they wouldn't Zamboni the ice in between the hockey.
When they re-level it.
Yeah, like they smooth it out and re-level it. When they wouldn't Zamboni the ice between like the hockey session, which would be on at like 6 p.m. and then we'd have like our senior skating session at like 7:38. And the ice would be so cut up and you'd see them get off and they'd have like these smug looks on their faces. And remember, I'm a 14-year-old girl, he's a 14-year-old boy. Like,
is it incumbent?
Can I make it any more obvious?
Is it incumbent on them? Is it like covers in cricket? Like, do they have to do? Is it like a part of the moral duty of the person who's leaving the ice to Zamboni the ice and you get on the machine?
No.
And,
You have
no.
Or is it
like
like
a facility manager?
Yeah. You have like sometimes they just wouldn't do it because they didn't have time, or like blah blah blah, XYZ. Sometimes it was just to piss me off one day. I don't know, but the point of like this notorious
age 14, they
14,
they've got you going.
They've got you going, and again, this is like it's just a rivalry that exists, and there's so many rom-coms out there about figure skaters and hockey players falling in love. Like, that's not a new concept, but there is yet to be a really good TV show about it. So if anyone wants me to consult, let me know.
There's a gig where we'll if this turns into a gig, we can turn and proceed pressure production. The last Winter Olympics question I want to ask is a little bit more serious, and then we'll get into some actually serious stuff. Which is, I want to talk about Lindsay Vonn.
Yeah.
And were you watching this live?
I was, and
The sound I made was maybe the most visceral sound, the most visceral reaction I've had watching something live ever. For those of you playing at home who have had the good luck to not watch this, Lindsey Vonn is a legendary American slalom skier.
Yeah.
And she had achieved everything. Laureus World Sportswoman of the Year in 2019, had achieved everything that a skier could. Very much one of those very few winter athletes that had broken through and become a proper household name.
Yeah.
Dated Tiger Woods for a bit. I learned this.
I don't know why. I don't know that one.
I learned this one recently.
That hasn't come across my desk.
But apparently it was a big deal at the time.
Yeah.
Would be American sporting power couple.
Yeah.
And so there's, she has decided to make a comeback. Her right knee is already metal and bolts and nuts.
Yeah.
As it is a common thing with slalom skiers, as I learned this Olympics, which makes sense. Their knees must have.
I mean, yeah, that's most skiers and snowboarders. Their knees are pretty bad
I
after
had
a while.
one friend of mine, mutual friend of ours, who said, "Don't worry about it. We'll discuss it off air." Who was like, they must have no synovial fluid left in their knees.
Probably not.
Probably. And then I learned what synovial fluid was. But
You're learning so much.
I'm learning so much this Olympic cycle. But the point is, Lindsey Vonn, legendary skier, makes a comeback specifically for these games. Has not skied competitively, or not skied at Olympic level for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, more than that.
And has come back for these games.
She wasn't at the last Olympics.
No, exactly right. Chasing these games, and did her ACL 5 days before the games.
Yeah.
Then I think it's 5-ish days before the games, and comes out, has a clean practice run, then comes out in the medal event and crashes like I've never seen. I'm sure there are worse crashes in the sport. I don't follow it. That was extraordinary. It was visceral. And so then the conversation went on of she put herself in that position. Is she, that was reckless, that was stupid, she's got kids. Or the flip side of this, and this was something that was raised by the Herald's Vince Rigari, friend of the pod, who's over there in Italy covering these games.
Yeah.
Brave or stupid, reckless reckless or
inspiring,
right? Where do you land on that, and then B, I guess there's an open conversation that Vince raises about this is what we ask of athletes all the time.
Exactly. And we just discussed it 20 minutes ago? I don't know how long we've been talking now, of how we keep asking for our athletes and these people that we put all of our hopes and dreams and pressure on. It's it's not my dream, Dad, it's yours kind of vibes. I think there's both sides to it, and I agree to both sides. I think one, ultimately, if you have such a horrendous injury 5 days before you're competing, that is foolish. That part is. But at the same time, the pressure that is on her and the hype around the comeback and all of that type of stuff, it then becomes a case of if she did pull out, there also likely would have been stories of people being this was a joke from the start.
Yeah.
Right? Either way. Mentally, they don't win. You don't win in that scenario. There is no way to win.
It also fascinates me, and I'm obviously not a medical expert, but it fascinates me that she received medical advice fundamentally saying we'll brace you up.
Yeah.
Good to go. Blows my mind, but
I'm not a doctor.
Exactly.
You're not a doctor. As much as our parents would have loved us to be doctors,
not doctors,
neither of us are.
But obviously presuming the soundness of that medical advice, my understanding is, having spoken to a number of physios and a number of doctors since in preparation for this interview, my understanding is that is a legitimate that is legitimate in some circumstances, and that there's professional athletes who can fundamentally live without an ACL.
Yes.
And in this scenario, this is one of them where the moves you're making on your knees are not sudden, they're not twisting around the knee, unless unfortunately your skis get.
Yeah.
But I guess then the other side of it is to what Is there a world where that's not reckless and that's not insane?
No. But I think ultimately, when it comes to...
Notwithstanding, you have to be partially insane to do that sport.
Yeah.
They're just going, they got the speedo on them.
ski.
They're going at like 140 k's an hour. They got the speedo on them.
Yeah.
And there's like a point at which they it tops out. Like a car that hits its top speed, but they can't.
Yeah,
they're not terminal.
The Winter Olympics is out of the two Olympics is the only one where you are breaking like G-force speeds.
Stupid.
So ultimately, that's what I'm saying is like for these, when you're skydiving or anything like that, there is ultimately a risk versus reward and all of that type of stuff. But there's also the acceptance of the fact that what I'm doing is reckless. Like when you're skydiving or you're bungee jumping, you're like, yeah, I'm partaking in a reckless activity right now. So by me saying that this was a reckless decision, that's not me saying that she's a horrible person or she's dumb and she's not sound of mind. It can be a reckless decision and still be something that you think is right for you. Ultimately, that's what I feel is what she went through. Obviously, I'm not in her brain, but that's what I'm saying.
I'm just thinking now, like, I'm just transporting myself back. I could have done without the screams of anguish echoing the valley. I could have done without that. I don't know if you were watching with sound off.
No. I was watching with sound off because it was like early in the morning.
Yeah, I was watching with sound on. Not good.
Not good.
No, it was prime time in Australia.
Was it prime time?
Yeah. It was like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. That's not prime time.
That's not prime time.
Australians are awake.
Australians are awake.
But it was, they had
to be fair, all of the nights have blurred into one for me now.
Are you okay?
No. I woke up at 3 this morning, man. I'm not okay. My first bit of food was when you arrived at the door.
Order for Kriti.
Like 15 hours after I'd woken up.
I once arrived at the house of a very, I won't name them, but a very well-known
Why do you're going to have to keep cutting things.
No, I don't have to cut it. It's fine. It's
oh my God, you're digressing
I
so
showed
much.
up once for a social event.
Okay.
And I got asked whether I was the pizza guy. And
I mean, you're brown. That's going to happen to us all the time.
They haven't lived it down.
Oh yeah, I know who this is.
Yes, you do. So
I know who this is.
It's fine. It's all good. Now, onto a more serious thing, and this is, I guess, not Winter Olympics focused, but it has been raised at this Winter Olympics.
It's ice focused, isn't it?
It is ice focused.
It is ice focused.
The
different type of ice.
Not to be confused, we're coming back.
There's a lot of ice at Winter Olympics, which there should be ice, but there shouldn't be this much ice.
No. This was raised at the Australian Open as well. A couple of American players, a Canadian journalist, sort of went around asking all the American players, fundamentally, like, how do you feel representing America in this moment? How do you feel about the state of the country? And those same sorts of questions have been asked of American athletes at these games, and interestingly, I think like the response has been
a lot better than it was at the Australian Open.
Yes, which I also think is really interesting. But I guess your thoughts as an American.
Firstly, no, not an American, not in the same way. Haven't lived there for a long time. My thoughts is we're only posing this question in this way of like, oh, is that okay? Because it's being asked of Americans. Journalists have been doing this everyone's been doing this for sporting events and other events for decades with what's going on around the world. This is not any different. The difference now is it's the colonial power that we're asking rather than asking other third world or developing countries, right? The second thing, the point that you made around the responses at the Australian Open versus the responses at the Winter Olympics, the responses are largely tied to the sponsorships that the different athletes have. Winter Olympians, especially the ones that are being asked these questions over there, they are not at the same level of income in terms of making the money from the brand sponsorships and deals and stuff as, say, the athletes that were competing at the Australian Open. That bottom line, it always comes down to the bottom line, right? In terms of like money and that's not me criticizing anyone. That's also how we survive day to day. But you will notice that a lot of the responses that have come out, a lot of the athletes that have spoken about it, they've been like, I'm from Minnesota. What do you expect? Like, are you, like, they've literally start off by saying, I'm from Minnesota, I am going to speak to this. Contrastingly, but sorry, also a lot of the athletes that they're asking are older than the tennis players that we had over here at the Australian Open who were not speaking to these things.
I guess what...
These are all just facts, by the way, that I've said so far. These aren't opinions.
No,
these are all just facts. I haven't laid any opinions about any of this.
What do you think... I mean, the other side, and you're a former journalist as well, so
I'm still a journalist.
Sorry, former full-time journalist. Sorry, is what I meant. But like, do you think it's a value journalistically and in both contexts, not just the Winter Olympics context, do you think it's a value journalistically to ask these people that question, to put them on that? I think there's a school of thought that it's putting them on a spot, versus you won't actually get a good answer anyway, because you're, inevitably these people have to return to the United States and live a life there.
Yes and no, because you are seeing people give answers. You are seeing people give well thought out answers. And the whole idea that sports is not political is not true. You've discussed this on the podcast before. There's been pieces about it. The Olympics is fundamentally a show of power and politics. So to say that this isn't the right spot, well, look at the history of the Olympics, truly, is what I would have to say to that.
Do you think we get answers that remain valuable when they're presumably still have the fear of having to return to the US and have their phone surgeon to do that?
What do you class as value? That's the question, right? Like, what do you class as value? Is the value of them being like, oh, I denounced Trump on the world stage? Everyone's doing that. What value does that? Not everyone, but do you know what I mean? Like, it depends on what the journalist or what the outlet or what the audience, again, the different methods of communication and the reason why you're going into them for that reason. What do you see as value from that? And that's on an individualistic basis. Yeah, absolutely. So that's why you do have different responses to these questions, right? Fundamentally I would say from like an international politics and diplomacy and relations perspective, that's the job of a journalist to ask those questions. That's what they exist for. And whenever they have the opportunity to, and especially again in these global stages where they have that spotlight and that pressure on them, that's what a journalist should do. That's the difference between journalism and like the whole like content creation side of things, where you've got, say, Obama yesterday around the aliens thing. A journalist would have followed that up.
For those of you not aware, unbelievable scenes.
Unbelievable. They would have just gone, okay, next question.
Obama goes on Brian Tyler Cohen's podcast, gets asked straight up, where are the aliens? Are the aliens or something to that effect? And he goes, yeah, totally. We're not holding on to them. Yeah. There's no secret scheme that they're kept from the president, but they totally exist. And then just next question. Yeah. And then Obama hilariously tweets the next day. I have to clarify.
I haven't seen any aliens. Because there was no follow-up questions.
Exactly right.
There was no actual, digging into the story.
It was...
it's
amazing.
But that's fundamentally what I mean.
But
the difference...
No. I guess the next question that I have from that, and it's without notice, but is this conversation around... the NBA are paying thousands of content creators to go to the All-Star Game.
Yes.
And to a significant extent, Adam Silver's talked about this, of we can use AI to curate people's feeds, and we can shift into a new world of sports broadcasting that is A, individual, B, personalised. And it's going to be led by these content creators that will...
But that's commentating. That's commentating and content. Is that journalism and digging into a story?
Does it
in that traditional sense.
Does it matter when it's the only form of engagement only form of media that is being fed to you algorithmically?
No. But what I'm saying is, you're asking about the questions that they're asking these people. Those content creators aren't going to be asking that question. That's what I'm saying. There is reason and rhyme for both of these streams. And this is something that I've talked about before. Like, you have like the 3 different areas of content all kind of blending into one. You've got your subject matter expert, who's, done a PhD or is a professional athlete, XYZ. You've got your opinions, and then I can't remember what the third one is, so someone's going to have to look up my article or insert it. You can insert it in here afterwards.
Yes,
so you've got lived experience, subject matter expert, and then whatever it is. And when you're scrolling through, all of these 3 blend into one, and you're not sure which one is which, right? But they are 3 different things, and that's okay. That's not to say one is better than the other. They all have equal weight and reason to exist, right? But the difference is, you can have lived experience and you can be a commentator and all of that, but you're not necessarily asking them, okay, but why? Because 9 times out of 10, you don't get the time to ask them but why as a commentator or as like a content creator.
I guess on the question of but why is a good segue to maybe my last question.
Yeah.
And I'm acutely aware that we've gone significantly over time.
Yeah, good luck editing this.
The editing is not my problem. We're recording it, in the afternoon, and I was told to be out of here by 5:30 to take advantage of a beautiful beach day in Sydney, and it is now 6 o'clock.
Yes.
But I guess on the question about why.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to wrap my head around this, coming back to the ice stuff. America hosting a FIFA World Cup in June, July, hosting LA Games in 2028.
Yeah.
And I wonder, and I ask this question of a lot of people.
You also have a lot of thoughts about me and going in and out of America.
Not even traveling, but just, are we going to remember this World Cup? Are we going to remember these LA Games? Potentially, I guess, in theory, the LA Games are going to be after the end of this second term, if there is an end to that second term.
Theoretically.
And the fact that I'm even like I'm phrasing it like that, and I'm not taking the mickey.
No. Yeah, I know.
Is probably indicative of like, are we going to remember this World Cup as the equivalent historically to a 1936 game? Should this be treated as a pariah state?
Do you realistically see the people that we know who work in the industry treating the games that like the World Cup that way? At where we are right now?
No, but I know every single one of them sees the United States.
Yes.
Intellectually.
Yes. Intellectually, yes.
As a
but what I'm
state.
saying, yes, intellectually, yes. But the fundamental difference is if you see them intellectually as a pariah state, that's fine. It's the action. And at this stage, our country and the way that we're approaching, and most of the globe still,
it's
the
still
way that
normalized relations. With
it's
the United
still
States.
normalized relations. So it's not going to be like that, which is probably not something that people really have said out loud or want to say out loud. Like
this was also the case. I don't think it's simplistic now at this point. This was also the case in 1936.
But I think people are very, very quick to go, this is exactly the same as 1936. You okay?
Yeah, my little brother's calling, and I'm really hoping that didn't interrupt the recording. But sorry, you go.
You didn't put your phone on Do Not Disturb?
I completely forgot to. But I don't think it... No, it's still red up top. We're still good.
Okay.
All right, sorry. I will cut that bit.
I think people are very quick to go, this is exactly the same as 1936, right? To do that kind of undermines and undervalues the significance of the situation as well. Yes, there's a lot of similarities, but I think there's a lot of differences in a worse way, right? So in order to do, I don't see people pulling out their teams from the World Cup. From the FIFA World Cup, right? Do you?
No, not to an American hosted World
exactly.
Cup.
So, sorry, that's my fridge. It likes to make itself known every now and then.
That's friendly.
Yeah. So the point of the matter is, yes, intellectually, all the people that we know, like if you end up going, whatever, if I end up going, everyone will get asked to go. Everyone intellectually knows America bad right now, right? If in the simplest of terms. But at the end of the day, has that changed the way that we're conducting business in the same way? No. And until that does, it doesn't really matter, unfortunately,
What is the point at which it becomes... What is the point at which it changes business?
That's something that you have to ask our leaders. Get Albo on next.
I will get him on... I'll get him on the blower. We'll sort it out.
Yeah.
We'll sort him out.
Yeah.
We'll his phone number leaked not that long ago. We'll track it down. We'll get him on the blower. I'm sure my day job will appreciate me getting him on. I mean, he might be more amenable to coming on a podcast than any form of serious interview.
Yeah.
But
the point of the matter is, like, you've seen how much things have changed in Minnesota. I've seen firsthand how much things have changed over the last 6 years in Minnesota. But if you look at it from outside of our algorithm and on the day-to-day, nothing has really changed. Which sucks. And that's a real simplistic way of putting it, but that is... Every day people are still waking up and they're just like, yeah, he's in the office, but that hasn't changed my day-to-day life, so it doesn't matter. And that's largely not people who look like us.
And on that really, really depressing note...
You brought it up. You ended this podcast about, hey, Kriti, how did you get into figure skating to Minnesota? How's that going for you?
Exactly. On that incredibly bleak note, Kriti Gupta, thank you so much for joining us on Pacific Culture.
No worries. I'm never doing